Welcome to Justice Throne. We appreciate all our viewers worldwide. Kindly tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would like to hear from you. She stopped to save a stranger and lost everything for it. But when that black limo pulled up the next morning, every head turned. Nobody expected who stepped out or what he came to say. She didn't see the bike at first. Just heard the sound, the kind that doesn't belong in daylight. A crack, a scream, and then silence so loud it made her heart jump. Janelle spun the wheel, pulled to the side of the road so fast her tires cried. And there it was, something crumpled at the shoulder, near the guardrail. It looked like trash. Until it moved. She left the car running. Rain still fresh on the asphalt, air thick with heat and smoke. Her sneakers slapped the pavement as she ran. The boy was on his side, curled, one leg twisted in a way no leg should twist. His jeans were soaked through, dark, sticky. Blood. So much blood. Hey, stay with me. Her voice cracked. He blinked at her like he wasn't sure she was real. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe this was one of those moments where you either show up or disappear forever. She chose to show up. She dropped to her knees, hands already moving. "What's your name, baby?" she asked, voice low but sharp, the way you speak when you're fighting time. His lips trembled. "Malik." "Okay, Malik. I'm Janelle. I'm not going anywhere." Her hospital badge swung into view, catching the fading sun. That's when people started slowing down. Watching. Filming. But not helping. Not one of them. The boy's leg was torn open, flesh raw and bright like something out of surgery. She yanked off her belt, looped it tight, felt him scream under her hands. "Good. You feel that? You're still here." She gritted her teeth. "Don't you dare leave me, Malik." Her palms were slick, shaking. She dialed 911, still pressing, still holding him like her own brother was bleeding out. A pickup slowed, then sped off. A woman yelled, "Leave him, girl, that gang mess ain't your business." She didn't look up. She couldn't. The only thing that mattered was the boy beneath her hands and the blood pooling around them like a quiet threat. Then she heard the sirens. Too far. Too slow. Malik's breathing turned shallow. His eyes fluttered. "You a nurse?" he rasped. "No," she whispered, tears springing. "I'm a damn angel today." They came eventually. Paramedics. Police. One white cop walked straight past Malik's body and up to her. "You the one who touched him?" he said. "No thank you. No good job. Just suspicion wrapped in a badge." "ID." She blinked. "I saved his life. And I asked for ID." That was the moment she realized it didn't matter. At the hospital, she barely made it through the staff entrance before Brenda found her. Arms folded. Lip tight. "You walked off mid-shift," she snapped. "We had a code in ICU." Janelle opened her mouth. "I saved a kid, he was bleeding out." Brenda didn't blink. "You're terminated. Effective now." Just like that. 8 years gone in 8 seconds. She didn't argue. Didn't cry. Just packed the little cardboard box with her name scrawled on it in black marker. Like it had been waiting. Like someone had been hoping she'd trip. Rain had started by the time she stepped outside. It wasn't dramatic rain. It was that mean, sideways drizzle that sticks to your skin and tells you the world's already made up its mind. She stood under the awning, holding the box, watching cars pass, wondering if Malik made it. Wondering if the right thing always costs this much. And then she heard it. Smooth. Expensive. She turned. A black limo was pulling up to the hospital curb. Black on black, rims like mirrors. It did not belong here. And yet, it didn't stop at valet. It stopped at her. The back window eased down with the kind of grace you don't see in real life. A man inside leaned forward. Sharp suit. Deep eyes. Cool voice. "You're Janelle Moore?" he asked. She clutched the box tighter. "Who's asking?" He smiled. Not kindly. Not cruelly. Just knowingly. "I'm Kane Waters," he said. "Malik's father." She froze. Heart hammering. The man's name echoed in her head like a courtroom verdict. Kane Waters. Billionaire. Political donor. Real estate tycoon. The kind of man who makes headlines, Not appearances. But there he was. At her feet. And then he said something she never expected. Get in. Janelle didn't move. Not right away. The rain had crept past her collar now, tracing slow lines down her back. She blinked at him, unsure whether to laugh, run, or cry. Get in? Like this was a ride home from a dinner party? I just lost my job, she said, voice sharp with disbelief. I'm not in the mood for games. Kane's eyes didn't waver. Neither am I. The back door opened without him moving. Someone from the front, driver or bodyguard, had timed it perfectly. Janelle glanced down at her cardboard box, then back at the open space inside the limo. Cream leather. Dim blue lights. The quiet hum of money that didn't have to announce itself. I don't need a ride, she muttered. Kane leaned back slightly, gaze still on her. I'm not offering one. She hesitated, then stepped in. The door closed behind her like a sealed deal. She sat rigid, cardboard box on her lap, still dripping. Kane passed her a thick black towel from a hidden compartment. For the rain, he said simply. She didn't thank him. Just took it and dabbed her face, hands trembling. The silence stretched. You saved my son, he said finally. She stared straight ahead. Someone had to. I have security footage. From a store across the street. I watched it 10 times. She shifted. I didn't do it for an audience. I know, he said quietly. That's why it meant something. There was a beat. Then another. You have kids, Ms. Moore? He asked. No, she said. Just patience. Or I did. His jaw ticked. Not sympathy, something else. Frustration, maybe. Or something too heavy to name. My son was supposed to die on that street, he said. You interrupted that. She turned to him, finally. You think I wanted to? That it was convenient for me to kneel in blood and fight for a stranger while everyone watched like it was some damn movie? Kane didn't blink. No. I think you're the only person who didn't look away. The car turned. She hadn't even noticed they were moving. Where are we going? She asked. He didn't answer directly. Just studied her like she was a file he hadn't fully read. You worked at Hartsfield Medical, right? 8 years. Until 30 minutes ago. They said you abandoned your post. I saved a life. Kane nodded slowly. They won't see it that way. Why are you doing this? She asked suddenly. Why me? Why now? His eyes locked on hers. Because I owe you everything, he said. And this town is about to see what happens when the wrong woman gets punished for doing the right damn thing. Janelle blinked, startled. The limo pulled into a circular driveway she recognized, but only from news photos. Kane Waters' estate. Not a house. A statement. And parked along the perimeter were other cars. Media vans. Black SUVs. Cameramen setting up in the drizzle. What is this? She whispered. Kane opened his door, rain slicing in behind him. Come see. Janelle stepped out, dazed. Her sneakers squelched on the marble entry path. The same one senators had walked. Celebrities. Now her. The woman in scrubs and a box of personal effects. A staffer approached, umbrella in hand. This way, Ms. Moore. Inside was warmer. Stillness wrapped in expensive silence. But just beyond the grand hallway, voices. Dozens. People gathered in a sunken lounge, lights trained toward a podium. Kane, a voice called. We're live in 3. He nodded. What is this? Janelle hissed. Kane turned to her. His voice calm. You're about to get your job back. She shook her head. I don't want charity. It's not charity. His tone sharpened. It's correction. Then Kane walked to the podium, placed a single photograph of Malik in front of the microphone, and looked out into the cameras. Janelle stood just behind him, confused, tense, damp, and very suddenly, center stage. Kane's voice boomed, slow and precise. 3 days ago, a child lay bleeding in the street. Strangers passed. One person stopped. That woman stands behind me today, unemployed, punished, because she chose compassion over policy. That ends now. The room shifted. Journalists scribbled. Flashes clicked. He turned to Janelle, offered her the mic. She didn't take it. Not yet. But she stepped forward, looked directly into the camera, and for the first time, her voice didn't shake. "I'm not a hero," she said. "I'm just tired of watching good people pay the price for doing what's right." And in the silence that followed, even Kane looked surprised. Then the questions started, and the storm began. The moment the cameras shut off, the applause vanished like it had never happened. Just dead air and a dozen muffled footsteps on marble. The house emptied quickly. Kane disappeared into a side room with a security team, saying nothing. And Janelle stood there, arms limp, staring at her own reflection in the polished floor. That voice that spoke into the mic a few minutes ago? That wasn't her. It sounded like her. But it wasn't. That voice was calm, righteous. A woman who stood for something. She didn't feel like she was standing at all. A staffer touched her arm lightly. "Ms. Moore? This way, please." The corridor they led her through smelled like expensive wood polish and stillness. Every painting on the wall was more expensive than her entire apartment. She hated it. Every inch of it. The guest suite door clicked behind her. Alone again. Box still in her hands. Dripping. She placed it down on a low velvet chair and sat on the edge of the bed, hands in her lap, breathing too shallow to feel real. She should feel proud. Kane Waters had just named her a hero in front of the national press. But her skin crawled. Her chest felt tight. That little girl inside her, raised to stay small, stay grateful, stay quiet, was screaming. And the scream said one thing: this is a trap. She looked down at herself. Scrubs, wrinkled and soaked. Mascara streaked. A hero? She didn't even look hired, let alone honored. And all she could hear now were the words her supervisor shouted yesterday. "You abandoned your post." She hadn't. She knew that. She knew it. But policy didn't care what you knew. It cared what could be proven. Her phone buzzed. Dozens of texts, notifications, missed calls. All from names she hadn't heard from in years. Old friends. Cousins. Even her mother, who'd stayed silent when Janelle got her scholarship, but suddenly had thoughts on her public moment. She ignored them all. Then another buzz. Unknown number. The message preview cut through her like glass. "So now you're famous for playing Florence Nightingale in the street? Shame you couldn't save your own job." She locked the screen instantly, heart hammering. She knew that number. Or worse, she knew the type. People who smiled to your face, but bled you behind your back. People who watched her go viral, not for who she was, but for what she represented. A token. A symbol. A story that made them feel good. Not the actual person who was sitting in a stranger's house, in a stranger's clothes, wondering if the life she built meant nothing in the face of one single moment. Another buzz. Email this time. Subject: employment review decision. Immediate termination confirmed. No reinstatement. No apology. No reconsideration after the press conference. Just a PDF attachment. Cold, final, brutal. She read it twice. Then deleted it. Then opened it again. That's when the tears started, not from sadness, but from that sick heat that rises when you realize no amount of truth can overwrite a system built on silence and sacrifice. Janelle walked to the window, still holding her phone, and stared out over Kane's estate. Beyond the glass was everything she'd never had: safety, comfort, silence that wasn't earned through exhaustion. She didn't trust it. Didn't trust him. Didn't trust this sudden power everyone said she had. Because at the end of the day, her badge was still gone. Her hospital ID deactivated. Her paycheck stopped. What did applause even mean if you couldn't pay rent with it? And that's when she saw it. Outside, in the driveway, a black SUV. Parked too long to be a visitor. Windows tinted. Engine still running. No movement. Just watching. She stepped back. The door behind her clicked. She spun around, breath caught, but it was only Kane. No tie. Shirt unbuttoned at the collar. A glass of water in his hand like he belonged to the calm. "I figured you hadn't eaten," he said. Janelle didn't answer. He looked at her, then at her phone, still clenched in her fist. "You've seen the decision," he said. She nodded once. "They doubled down." "Of course they did," she snapped finally. Because people like me don't get apologies. We get punished quietly and celebrated publicly, depending on what the world needs that day. Kane took a slow sip of his water. Set it down. Then let's stop playing their game. I'm not playing, she hissed. He nodded slowly, eyes sharp now. Exactly. You've already lost the job. So stop trying to stay polite. Her chest rose, fell, then rose again, harder. I didn't ask for your money, or your cameras, or your damn limo. Kane's expression didn't flinch. No, but you needed someone to say out loud that what happened to you was wrong. She turned away, silent, and for a moment, neither of them moved. But both were burning. Janelle didn't sleep that night. She just laid there, fully dressed on the edge of the guest bed, staring at the darkened chandelier. It swung slightly, barely, as if the house itself breathed. At 3:17 a.m., she checked her phone again. Twitter was a war zone. Her name trending for all the wrong reasons. Another clout chaser playing the race card. These people want to be victims so bad. If she was white, y'all wouldn't care. She scrolled until her thumb froze. One comment hit like a slap. Pretty enough to be the face of injustice. Convenient, right? Janelle sat up, jaw clenched, because it wasn't just what they were saying, it was what they were not saying. No one mentioned the boy, the blood, the fact that she might have saved a life. She was no longer a nurse, no longer a human, just a symbol. And symbols don't get to be soft. Downstairs, someone was in the kitchen. She followed the low light and quiet clinking, barefoot on cold marble. There he was, Kane, in a navy robe, pouring bourbon into a coffee mug like it was water. He looked up. You don't sleep either, he said. Janelle folded her arms, leaned against the doorway. Is this where you tell me the backlash will pass? No, it won't. Silence. Kane gestured to a stool. She didn't move. He didn't flinch. They'll crucify you for being grateful. And they'll crucify you for being angry. Either way, they get their pound of flesh. And what do you get? She asked, voice sharp. He met her stare. You think I staged this? That I want your face on my foundation page for clicks? Didn't you? She fired back. A long pause. Then Kane reached into a drawer, pulled out a folded photo. Set it down between them. A boy. His son. Bandaged. Unconscious in a hospital bed. Tiny oxygen tube in his nose. Doctors said if he'd bled 5 more minutes, he wouldn't have made it, Kane said quietly. Janelle blinked. This wasn't charity, Ms. Moore. This was a father trying to make sense of the only reason his child is still breathing. She sat down. And for a moment, the room was just 2 people, no politics, no cameras, no trending hashtags. Just pain in different languages. But that quiet cracked when Kane's phone buzzed on the counter. He didn't check it, but Janelle saw the name on the screen before it dimmed. Senator Wells, urgent. Kane noticed her look. What's your relationship with politicians? She asked. He hesitated. I make donations. I host dinners. I know how power moves. She studied him. And what do you want from me? Another pause. Then, finally, honesty. I want them to see what they tried to erase. You want a face for your agenda. No, he said slowly. I want a mirror. And they hate looking into one. She stood again. Don't make me your reflection, Kane. I'm not here to heal your conscience. I didn't ask you to, he replied. But if we're both bleeding, maybe we don't have to do it alone. Outside, thunder cracked. Janelle turned toward the window. Headlights flashed at the estate gates. A crowd. Protesters? Press? Too dark to tell. But something was building. Inside her. Outside too. She looked back at Kane. I'm not your story, she said. And I'm done letting people write mine without permission. He nodded. Then said the one thing that made her pulse stop. You don't have to be the story. But you could be the storm. The sky hung low that morning as if it too was tired of watching. The gates creaked open. Janelle stood by them, dressed simply in her old navy scrubs. No makeup. No PR team. Just her, holding her truth like a glass of water. Steady, fragile, necessary. Kane had offered her a team, a statement, a platform. She said no. Because the louder everyone else got, the quieter she needed to be. Camera crews were already in place. Protesters mingled with skeptics. Reporters shouting questions that didn't really want answers. She walked toward the mic stand that had been set up in the courtyard, the estate's manicured hedges lining her like spectators. Kane watched from the steps, arms crossed, not intervening, just watching. Janelle took a breath, then spoke. "I'm not a hero," she began, voice calm, clear. "I was just late for work. Saw a boy bleeding on the road. And I stopped." The crowd murmured. "I didn't know his name. I didn't know who his father was. I just saw someone who needed help. I stayed. I lost my job." She let that sink in. "But what I didn't lose was my humanity. Even when the world tried to strip it away and repaint me into whatever narrative made them feel better." A hush swept over the crowd. Cameras held their breath. "You don't have to believe I did the right thing. You don't even have to like me. But before you write your next think piece or hashtag, ask yourself this." She leaned in, eyes burning. "If that had been your child, bleeding alone, would you really care what the nurse looked like?" Silence. That kind of silence that isn't empty, but full. She stepped back. No tears. No grand bow. Just a quiet, sharp exhale that felt like a full-body release. As she turned to leave, Kane stepped forward. Not to speak, but to walk beside her. Just for a moment. Two silhouettes moving through flashing bulbs and whispered awe. By the time she reached the gates again, a voice broke from the crowd. "Janelle," someone called. She looked back. A young black girl stood near the front, maybe 12, holding her phone up, tears streaming. "You made me feel seen." Janelle didn't reply. She just nodded. Because some things, some victories, don't need applause. Just witness. And as the gates closed behind her, Janelle finally smiled. Not for the cameras. For herself. Because this time, she chose the ending. Not every story ends in a courtroom. Sometimes, the verdict is how you carry yourself when no one believes you. So what do you think? Was Janelle a victim, or something more? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Share your thoughts on Janelle. What would you have done? And don't forget to subscribe to Justice Throne for more gripping, emotional stories ripped from real life. Hit the bell because your story could be next.